Hi everybody! Today I'm going to talk about one of the greatest loves of my life, which I've not really mentioned anywhere on my social media before, and that is perfumes. I've loved perfume ever since I saw my mother wearing Beautiful by Estee Lauder, Trésor by Lancôme. As a child, she would wear these perfumes, spray them on as she was getting ready to go out, and I've always associated perfumes with being romantic because my father would sometimes buy perfumes for her too. So I sort of had this love for fragrance imprinted onto me as a child, and it's never gone away, and I don't think it ever will. I enjoy them so much. I started with my first ever fragrance as a 15-year-old, and it was by Nina Ricci in kind of like a green spirally looking bottle. I've kept all the bottles of perfumes I've ever had, so once they're sprayed out, they don't go in the bin, they go into a shoebox. So I've got multiple shoe boxes of empty perfume bottles. I just keep them because usually, like for a 50ml or 100ml bottle, it takes a year or more to get through, especially because I usually have multiple perfumes on the go at the same time. And I feel like for something that has given me so much happiness over that time, I can't just throw it away. So I've shown you my current cooler weather collection, is what I'd call it. So I divide my perfume collection into what I would wear in the cooler months and what I would wear in the warmer months in where I live in Brisbane, Australia. And the line between cool and warm for me is when it's maximum 30 degrees predicted by the Bureau of Meteorology. So if it's up to 29 degrees, that's cool for me, and 30 degrees or more, maximum predicted temperature by BOM, 30 degrees or more Celsius is warm. So we're looking today at the cool collection. We'll start off with Jo Malone Frangipani Flower Cologne. I won't say too much about this because it's not currently available anymore. And this one I bought in 2019, and so it's been a few years and it's reaching the end. You can see that there's not much left. And what attracted me to this was, one, the color of the bottle and the shape of the bottle is really beautiful. I think a lot of the Jo Malone perfumes have this sort of bottle. And at the time that I bought it in July 2019, it was limited edition. And I loved it, and I thought, well, this can be my Auckland holiday perfume. That's a tradition that I've had for the past few years, where as a way to curb my perfume spending, because at one point I had like 30, which is ridiculous, right? Which meant I'll never get through any of them, because how many sprays can you spray on yourself per day? So as a way to curb the spending, I gave myself special occasions where I could buy a new fragrance. And one of them is if I was going on holiday somewhere, I would buy a trip perfume. So that would be the perfume that I associate with my trip, and sometimes it would be the only perfume that I would wear for that entire trip. So this was the Auckland trip perfume. I actually bought it in Brisbane because I was Googling and it looked like it was going to be more expensive in Auckland, and I thought, well, what's the point of buying it in Auckland if it's more expensive, right? So I bought this in Brisbane. So let's give it a spray. So this makes me very happy because it smells great, and Frangipani is one of those flowers which is very common in my hometown when I was growing up, and it reminds me of the sun. There's just something solar about it. Oh. it's like the beach and suntan oil, and it just makes me so happy. It probably not really the kind of smell I would associate with being in Auckland, like, because that's a city. It's more a smell that I would associate it being on the beach. So maybe that was a little bit out of sync, but it's made me very happy for quite a few years. So I'm looking at fragrancenet.com, which I think is a review site, and it says the perfumer is Marie Salamange, and the top notes are lemon and solar. So I don't actually know what they mean when they say solar, but solar for me means I feel the sunshine in the perfume, and I really don't know how to break it down more than that, because the sunshine doesn't actually smell of anything, not that I can smell anyway, but it is actually a perfume note, solar. Middle notes frangipani, jasmine, and ylang ylang. Base notes sandalwood and benzoin. But I'm taking these notes with a pinch of salt because it's not available on Jo Malone website. I prefer to go to the actual brand's website to find out what the notes are, and we can't do that at the moment. So next is Florabotanica by Balenciaga. So this one was on my list for a very long time, maybe even a decade. Like, it was one of those that I either couldn't find or I was distracted by some other perfume at the moment. And so I don't know what triggered it, but one of the birthdays in the past few years, I was like, I think I was Googling it, and there was like talk of it being discontinued. And it wouldn't be the first time that I missed out on a perfume on my list because I waited too long. And so I thought, oh no, I'm gonna have to get this perfume before it actually is really discontinued. And I found it on one of the pharmacy websites, might have been Chemist Warehouse, and they had it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. I don't like to buy perfumes online, but there was no other option, so I ordered it, and it was one of the birthday presents for myself. That's another tradition. I can buy a perfume for my birthday. That's one of the limitations I put to curb the spending. So yeah, this is like, oh, another one which makes me so happy. It's like rose, but light, soft, green. So a green rose is what I'm getting when I'm sniffing it, and that's my interpretation of what the smell is. It's one of those that is really recognizable. I feel like if someone walks past wearing this, I know what it is right away, even before I bought a bottle. So it's really well made, really well formulated, I believe. And I kind of find when I did the unboxing for the perfume, I was like, this bottle is weird. Like, it's like, what's with the stripes? Like, what are they trying to say with the stripes? And then the stripes are even in the bottle. So it's like, and then it's red on one side and then it's clear on the other. So red stripe, kind of like a purple blue tinge here. And then, yeah, it's just, I don't know whether it was tying in with maybe one of their couture collections for whatever year this came out in. So I can't find anything on the Balenciaga official website about the perfume. They don't seem to have a perfume section, so I'm not sure. Maybe they don't make them anymore. Fragrantica website, and they're saying here Florabotanica is the floral green, so I got that from that sniff, that sort of rose green. Launched in 2012, created by Olivier Polge and Jean-Christophe Hérault. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Top note is mint, middle notes are rose, carnation, and cannabis. Base notes are vetiver and amber. So it's unusual because I don't often see mint in perfumes or cannabis. I am a little surprised at what it has according to Fragrantica website. But yes, this is also one of the perfumes that has made me very happy. I am never disappointed when I spray it on, and it's not one of those that changes with if I'm wearing something else or if it's a different day on my skin. So very happy with this one. Next one is Peony by Dolce Gabbana. So Dolce Gabbana seem to have released single floral note perfumes. I think they have a rose and maybe some other notes as well. And the last time I had a Dolce & Gabbana was light blue, which is a bit of a classic and is still really good to this day. So this one, a co-worker at a previous job was wearing it, and it smelled so good. And I was like, what are you wearing? And she says, is that because it's good or not good? And I said, it's because it's good. And she told me that it is Peony by Dolce Gabbana. So I put it on my list because I know that perfumes can smell different depending on the person. So don't buy perfume because it smells good on someone else. Like, it's a good way to find things to try, right? But not make that decision solely because you smelled it on someone else. And so I went to the shop and Meyer and tried it on, and I liked it on me, but in retrospect I should have waited. I should have waited for the dry down, which I think is maybe in 30 minutes, but I wanted to get something, and I think it wasn't really a purchase to meet one of the traditions. So there's really only two, the trip tradition and the birthday tradition. I think it was, I always have 3 as a minimum, and I needed one more because I was running out of one of the older ones. And it's a beautiful bottle. I mean, look, stunning. There isn't really a bottle like this, or not at the time that I was shopping anyway. And a beautiful lavender kind of tinge, which kind of doesn't really go with what I think the peony color is, but maybe pink was already taken by another one of their soliflores. So let's spray this. So it's a very sweet note, and then it almost very quickly sort of hits the back of my nose, and with like a fizzing sensation. And that's what I smell at the point that I feel it starts to go beyond smelling good on my skin. I was at Libertine Perfumery, which is a shop here in Brisbane that sells the niche perfumes, and we're trying all these expensive perfumes. And you know, if I'd found something that I liked, I would have bought one, right? Because I'm a fan of perfumes. And the lady there, to do her justice, she wasn't just selling for the sake of selling. She said, "Oh, that actually smells like cat piss on you." And I was like, yeah, it does. That's the word that I'm looking for, because I'm like, why does this smell so strong and off on me? And this kind of does that. So there's obviously a base note that on my skin, reacting with my skin chemistry, begins to smell like I've just been sprayed by a cat. So I need to know what that is, because then I can avoid everything that has that, right, in perfumes. And this was my fault because I didn't wait long enough. I was too impatient. I should have waited. And because my memory was that it smelled so good on this other lady, so I was sort of also not following my own advice in terms of just because it smells so good on somebody else. So I'm on the Dolce Gabbana website, and this range is the Dolce range, so it's good that it's still on the website, which means I can get the official notes. And it was created by Christophe Renaud for Dolce & Gabbana. Top notes: pear, cyclamen, bergamot, pink pepper, heart, peony, Bulgarian rose, freesia, base, Mirabelle plum nectar, Virginian sandalwood, honey, and broxan, and patchouli. Yes, I think that's what it is, the patchouli. I should have done my research before I went to the shop. My God, because I remember I avoid that like the plague usually, and that's what it is. That's making perfume smell like cat piss on my skin. Darn. But I am not one to waste. I spent my hard-earned money on this, and I'm going to get through it. Next is Osmanthus by Acqua di Parma. This is my third, I believe, Acqua di Parma perfume in my lifetime of buying perfumes. Acqua di Parma is an Italian brand, and it's kind of on the expensive side. And for most of their fragrances, they only have them in the 100 ml bottle. And the bottle is pretty much like this. Sometimes there might be a different colored top and a different colored label, but this is what it looks like. And I think for some of them in the past, they have gone with a different shape of bottle, but this is the most common one. And for a perfume range that is quite expensive, I think they could have done a better job of the label. It's just a paper label, and I've had to move where the spray comes out because I wear a lot of hand creams, and I fear that if I'm placing my hand on the label all the time, it's kind of like a thin paper, it will start to peel. So I've had to change where the spray is coming out of. So then my hand is on here, which I'll show. Oh. So this, when I picked it up, I think there was a range. I bought this in Sydney, the Sydney Myer. No, I bought this in David Jones. Sorry, I'm wrong. I was in Myer, but the lady who I got referred to serve me gave me resting bitch face, and I was like, this is almost $400. I'm gonna go buy it somewhere else. I don't need to deal with resting bitch face when I'm trying to spend money, right? And I went over to David Jones, but while I was looking in Myer, I noticed that it seemed to be part of a collection within Acqua di Parma, and I really loved how it smelled. It's similar to Frangipani in that they're both white flowers. So there's something about white flowers that makes me think of sunshine, and this also makes me think of sunshine. It's just magic. It's one of those where I'm somewhere else when I spray it. It brings me, I feel like, to some mountain in China, and I'm under an Osmanthus tree with the flowers falling down on me. That's what this feels like when I spray it. It's very much an evocative scent for me, and I love it so much. So I have no doubt I'll get through the 100 ml, no problem. And even look at the liquid. It's like they managed to capture it, the sunshine. So I'm on the Acqua di Parma website, and let's see what they say. Osmanthus is a sun-filled interpretation of the flower's deep and sensual notes. See, I can smell sun when the perfumer intends it. So, top notes: green mandarin neroli. Heart notes: peony, pink pepper, ambrette. Base notes: osmanthus patchouli. So the patchouli in this one, I don't notice. Maybe it's in combination with something else. Or is it a particular kind of patchouli that smells like cat piss on my skin? But this, on the official website, it says that there's a patchouli, but I don't feel it when I'm wearing this one. I just feel warm when I smell it after the dry down. Yeah, so this is another one. Apart from the label, I mean, I think they could do a better job for a perfume that costs $400, right? But the juice itself, let me see if I can find who the perfumer was. So no, they don't actually say on their website who was the nose that made Osmanthus or really any of their perfumes. So it might be one of those houses that they don't share those details. I think sometimes noses can be celebrities. I mean, not celebrities as in a celebrity who became a perfumer, but because of what they have made in their careers, they attain celebrity status. And perhaps some houses feel like that detracts from the experience of wearing the perfume. You know, because Olivia Polk, for example, was responsible for XYZ at Chanel. I have to think of that when I'm wearing one of those. So anyway, I'm just speculating. That's probably not why people don't share who the perfumer is at all. And the last one from the 29 degrees Celsius and under range is the newest edition. So this is the newest edition. Rose Alexandrie from the Armani Prive line. This was last year's birthday perfume. Rose Alexandrie has been on my list for also many years, maybe like 10 years. And it was always too expensive whenever I was able to find it. And this year, I thought I'm just gonna have to buy it regardless of what it costs, because I'm worried also that it's being discontinued because of how old it is, right? And they have a 50 ml, which I've noticed for the first time. I'm not sure when they started making 50 ml, and it was, I believe it was just under 200 maybe, so it was okay. That's fine for like a birthday present to myself, that kind of price range. And it's also one which makes me very happy. Let's give it a spray. So all the Armani Prive, all in that range, have this kind of pebble, what I would call a pebble shaped top. I'm going to put this on my skin. It's the last one, so I'm not going to be layering all the others on top. Gorgeous. It's not rose right away. It's almost citrusy. Grapefruit, that's what I'm thinking of. Slightly bitter. Of course, I've sprayed this many times over the years while I'm in and out of perfume counters and trying not to buy it. Finally buying it. Oh, incredible. So I don't know whether Alexandrie is meant to be a reference to Alexandria in Egypt, and whether this rose is sourced from that region of the world. And this is what I believe an expensive bottle of perfume should look like, because it's got that metal plate for the brand name and the perfume name. So this shows me, this to me is a bottle where they put a bit more thought into what it should look like and how it should feel in the customer's hand. So let's see what they say on their website about Rose Alexandrie. Okay, it's on their official website, always a good thing. Floral citrusy fragrance. So there you go. That was the citrus that I smelled. Inspired by fountain waters and scent of roses from the mythic Alexandria garden. So a garden which may have existed in Alexandria in myth, I guess. Interpretation, solar, and so there again, another mention of the word solar. I really must figure out what this means in perfumery, because clearly I'm very attracted to it. I don't even know it when I'm picking up these perfumes. Iconic centifolia rose grown under the Mediterranean light. Mediterranean citrusy rose. Bergamot, neroli. So that might be the citrus that I was smelling. Let's see if we can find the perfumer. No, I can't find who the perfumer is online. So it's another one of those like Acqua di Parma where it's not easily found, the name of the person who made it. So I'm just going to read out what it says on Wikipedia about Osmanthus, because I think that's not really commonly known here in Australia what kind of flower that is. So originally found in the Middle East of the Himalayas, so Asian in origin, has been known in China since ancient times. And I know that they use the flowers as a tea, which is also one of my favorite things. The flowers are used throughout East Asia for their scent and flavor, which is likened to apricot and peach. In China, Osmanthus tea combines sweet Osmanthus flowers with black or green tea leaves. In Vllo, it is used to, again, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, it is used to flavor a locally brewed beer. Sweet Osmanthus and Osmanthus tea are particularly associated with the city of Guilin. Again, if I pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. Literally forests of sweet Osmanthus. They also make it into a wine. And Pepsi has an Osmanthus flavored Pepsi for China. Please, if anyone knows where I can find that in Brisbane, please let me know. I'd love to try this Osmanthus flavored Pepsi. So it mentioned that it smells a bit like peach, and peach, unfortunately, like patchouli, is one of those that I have an averse reaction to. It, in candy even, it makes me feel nauseous, like, and gives me a headache. So that's another note that I stay away from in food and fragrance. So I've been a perfume lover for a very long time. I even have like a perfume book lying around here somewhere, and it's like one of those things which is a gift of humanity. Somewhere in our past, someone put together a bunch of ingredients and produce a scent, which then people could spray on themselves and spread around all this happiness. And I feel so thankful for that person or group of persons who sat down and worked it all out, and how the spray should work, and the top, middle, and base notes, and even how does that even work, right? So it's something which I don't understand, like the process, but I'm very much a grateful recipient of the products. So you can probably tell from my 29 Degrees and Under collection that I'm a big fan of rose. So rose is probably my first love, even though it wasn't really in my first perfume. It's been the note that I look for consistently all the time. And then number 2 is white flowers, jasmine, the Frangipani, the Osmanthus. I would call those all white flowers. And lately, I don't look for it, but I'm quite enjoying musk. I have a sample size of one of Juliet Has a Gun perfumes called Musk Incredible, I think. And I'm wearing that today, and I'm actually really enjoying it. And musk isn't usually something that I look for when I look for the next perfume. It's usually pretty much rose, white florals, and oceanic. Like Davidoff Cool Water Woman, that kind of vibe. Do you have a favorite perfume? Do you wear perfume all the time? If you have any recommendations, please drop a comment below. This is my first perfume video, and since it's such a passion of mine, I'm hoping to continue making more videos on perfume. If that's something you're interested in, please consider joining us.